Hello and welcome to Ascending Soul's Journey. I am Lorianne, here to give you messages from Archangel Michael. I welcome you and I hope that this actually helps you in your journey. Somehow, some way, there'll be something through the messages over the next several weeks that I give you that should be able to help you in your course. So one of the messages that I was guided to give today, there's a couple, but I can only do so much in a day. They want me to do everything all at once, right? The angels. So I called in Archangel Michael and I asked him what he wanted me to talk to you about. And it's all about the life purpose. Each and every one of us, we're born in this life. We have a purpose for being here. No matter what age we are, there's something that we're meant to accomplish or to complete or to begin. For some of us, it's just a beginning action where someone else will take it over for you. And our past leads us to our life purpose. And that's not an easy thing to see. And when we have blockages in our past, when we have anger, when we have guilt, it's difficult to see the purpose in there. If you hear any noise in the background, my dog, his name is Captain. I call him Captain Lovebug. He's joining us right now. So the synchronicities of the past is really what we want to take a look at. The places that you've been, the experiences that you've had, and absolutely the people along the way. Each of them play an integral part in revealing pieces of your puzzle, of your existence. It's like if you had a big puzzle, all these pieces are missing, or just one piece. It just depends on you and where you're at in your journey. But all of those puzzle pieces, when we put it together, it is our completed life journey from the time we're born until the time we are no longer in this earthly plane. When we get off of our path, we will come into places, we will have experiences, and we will have people to help us get back on our path. And for those of you who've been on your path your whole life, these are people, and all of this is in your life, these synchronicities, to keep you on your actual life journey. So that it's a win-win situation. If you're lost, you get found. If you're already found, you stay found. But as I began to meditate, I always meditate, and Archangel Michael started showing me visions of what he wanted me to share. And it's actually a particular time in my life that led me where I could go back and I can see the synchronicities. And I want to share this with you so that it may help you in your journey. Many years ago, actually, there was a time in my life that I was looking for a new church home for my children. I raised my children under a religion that I liked, that I thought would be good for them to begin their spiritual journey. Me working on this end at home and then in the religious sector as well, because it was important for them to make their own choice in life. It wasn't my decision what direction they want to go. So as I'm looking for a new church home in the location where I live, there was about a 20-25 minute drive in the opposite location going into a rural area that I rarely ever went to. But I kept being like, there was always something pulling me out there. Over a few month period of time, there must have been 7 or 8 different times I had to go out there. Each time I drove by, there was this huge cross that was standing, a big white simple cross. And one day, a little itty bitty church was under it. It was like the cross seemed bigger than the church. One day I felt compelled to actually drive in the driveway. It was very far from my home, picking a place to go. I wanted it closer to home if possible. But I was just so drawn to go in there. So I drove in and circled the parking lot, which was barren. Every time I went to the church, I didn't even know if it was actually open. It always looked like it was uh, nobody there, not functioning. So as I continued to go back, I would drive in. I just sit there and I would just stare at the building, getting the feeling of the energy all around the building. Is this the right place for us to go? One day I decided to actually go in the church, and they were wonderful to me. They were wonderful to my children. They asked us to join the church, and I wasn't really sure if I wanted to. I was looking at a couple other churches as well. So one day I went outside. This was about 2 days later, approximately 3 days later, I went outside, and right in front of my doorstep was this little gift basket where they had invited me to come. They had prayers in there. There was a loaf of lemon blueberry cake. It was absolutely wonderful. It was beautiful. Now, it meant so much to me that I did join the church, and that was one of the best things I could have ever done. Not just for me, for my children, but it was a really amazing situation because when I walked in, the pastor that was there, it was like he knew me. I felt very comfortable with him, like a soulmate kind of a connection. He and his wife were lovely. They had a beautiful family. The church, I loved it, and I loved the way he ran the church. Almost instantly, he asked me to, when he found out that because I was a Sunday school teacher for over 10 years. And when he found out that I was a Sunday school teacher, he asked me to do a little singing event for the children's group, and I did. And that was an amazing hit where they sang in front of the audience and they had little masks that they made. It was a beautiful thing. Then he asked me to do Sunday school, and I did it 1 year, but I didn't do it the next year because he asked me repeatedly to start a single parenting group. Well, I had never gone to a single parenting group. I didn't know what to do, especially in a religious basis. I had no idea how to do it. They bought all the information, the books and everything. And the first year that I did it for them, I had 6 people by the end of that year. Woo, that's how many members I had. And I felt very unaccomplished because I was used to giving events and doing things that were very large, grand scale, that would bring in hundreds or thousands of people. So to only get 6, I felt like a little bit of a failure, right? And he loved it. He said, no, we want you to do it again next year. And I expressed to him my concerns because I didn't have a lot of people. So the next year I did. I accepted it. I did it for him. And I had more people that year. But that year I had 12 people and one was a man and the rest were women. So now we've got a little bit of variation. So there was some growth. And he asked me to do it the third year. The third year that I did it, it actually increased to about 25 people. So it was still a very small group, but it was more diversified. There were a lot more men. There was 5 or 6 men and the rest were women. So now we had a real group beginning. It takes time. It takes patience. And that's one of the things that we forget about. But he had also asked me to speak in front of the church on a situation that happened in my personal life where I had married somebody that was very abusive. And I was very reluctant. It took him 3 years before I said yes to do that. But along the way, he had asked me to bring back or to work on Vacation Bible School. There was a lot of things along the way. So we had working with the children in 2 different capacities, working with single adults in that capacity of who they are as an adult, especially in the spiritual aspect. And then he wanted me to do the other, but there was speak in front of the church. That was hard. I was like, no. So he asked me to do Vacation Bible School, which for those of you who don't know is a really wonderful program if you're involved in a church of any kind that offers it, where the children can go for a week and they attend. Now, obviously this year it probably didn't happen in the year 2020, or it was in a whole different new version. But back then we met in one building. So the church, being so small as it was, had gone from a week down to a weekend. And when they asked me to do it, they only asked me to do it for one day because they had lost all the interest from the participants. By the time I was done doing this, not only did I have more children than I thought we were going to be able to accommodate. We had people coming from other churches. They heard about, I don't know how. They didn't advertise it. You see, you may even be hearing the words, you build, will bring. And I've heard that off and on, just a voice in my head, you build, we bring. And this is what I was hearing at that time. So it was an absolute success. We had more parent help than I could use, and I had about 12 different rooms, and it was an incredible success that led the church in the following years to building it back up to the way it used to be. But an occurrence happened in my life where we were getting ready to move, and we were going to relocate to a whole brand new area, and we would no longer be able to be part of the church. And they asked me to, one more time, he sat me down and asked me to share my story of my personal life experience in that relationship. And it was amazing. I'm used to doing public speaking. It was the most terrifying thing I've ever done because it was sharing a part of my life that I was embarrassed about, that I felt humiliated and degraded, the repercussion of making that choice and how it affected me and my children. But it was so moving to the church. At one point, I looked up. I had to not look. I had to look through the audience in this particular topic because I was talking about me on a personal level. If I talk about non-personal, I can go on and I never have an issue. But when it's personal, that's where it can be very difficult. So you see, the place brought me there. The building, the energy of the ground brought me to the church. The experience of helping the church build their parish back up again was a remarkable experience. But the people in the church, they viewed me in a very different way as I continued to work with the church. It was a wonderful experience. The speech I gave has everything to do with what I do today, with giving you this message today. You see, our life experiences do have everything to do with our purpose. So when you look back at your life, you may see little pieces of things. This could be you being pulled into an area that, why do I keep feeling like I need to go there? Now pay attention to the energy and the vibrations all around you, and we will be looking at a lot of that type of information in the future, weekly messages. But this is very profound, and what I'm being guided to tell you from him is this. It is not easy to stand up in your own truth and authentic self. Revealing who we really are, taking off those masks, is a hard thing to do, but it has everything to do with your life purpose, no matter what it is. No, it doesn't mean you're meant to do what I'm doing. You could be the janitor that works for the building that helps the people in this area of their life, and that is a very valuable part of that whole process because the cleanliness is vital. So all of us have a part to play in our life and our purpose in this life. But it's up to us to take those masks off and to turn around with a non-emotional, release the emotions so you can see through any pain that you haven't healed. When you see those little places where, oh, I felt like I kept needing to go back, but I didn't know why, and I stopped going. We can choose whether we pursue. I could have chosen not to go to the church and gone to a different one, and it would have probably extended into a different avenue, right? Gone a different direction. It's different for all of us. But it wouldn't have brought me to that moment in that particular place with those particular people. And these were some of the finest people I've ever met in my life. It has nothing to do with the religion or the church. It was the people. It was the energy of the ground and the leader of that group of people. It was the leader that made me feel comfortable enough to take that mask off. So while I was kind of shaking and shivering as I was sharing my story, I looked out across the room and there were people, it was so packed, there were people standing up in the back of the room. I didn't know it, but he had announced for people to come and listen to this story. You see, there were people in the group that needed to hear what had transpired through my personal life event in that abusive relationship, because there were people in that room that could help them as well as the church. So it's not just in the moment, all of these places, experiences, and people. It's in your life. I do hope that you guys have found something through this, or you will over the next while as you reflect back on your life, on your past in a non-emotional way, to look for those places, those experiences, and the people. So thank you for watching, and I wish you the best. Much love.